Hello, everyone, and welcome to Home Based Business Review with Carl Douglas. I'm excited to introduce our guest. She's a well-known author, and she has children books that she writes. Her name is Faye Michelle of A Comfort Legacy. So I'll let her tell you basically about what made her decide that writing children books was her niche.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to your show. I am so happy to be here. Um, I will say that when I first realized that I wanted to be a writer, I think that happened many, many years ago, but I never had the opportunity or did not even know how to get started. So, um, just recently, I was able to write with my grandson, share some old time stories with him, and I wrote them down, and then that became history. We started writing books together.
So tell me about everybody has a reason for, especially for the first book. Talk about your first book. Where you get your inspiration for that?
Okay, first book. Gotta have that green banana. I don't know if you can see it. um, Gotta have that green banana is a funny story about an experience that I had with my grandmother while we were shopping at the store. And it came about because I got disciplined and my grandson was doing something and it just reminded me of that time. So I decided to tell him a little story about me with my grandmother, and he loved the story, so he would ask me to repeat the story several times, and then I just decided to write the story down so that he could read it. And he's an avid reader, so I just allowed him to just read it, and then so that's what got started.
Oh, okay. So now that you have wrote your first book,
Mm.
I'm new to writing books. So tell me, what should I start out before I even do a book? What is the first step I should do in getting started here?
Well, the first thing you should do is write your story. Whatever it is, write your story and try to figure out who your audience is. So, who are you trying to reach with your story? I was just trying to tell a story to my grandson and realized that it was a great segue into bringing up heritages, heritage and legacies. And so I had countless of stories that I wanted to share with him. And so that's how I got started. So what you would do was definitely start to write your story. That's what's most important, is to get it down. You can think it all the time, but you need to
So have
just
a vision before you put it on paper of how you
yes,
started,
yes.
the middle, and of course the end. Let's talk about the first book. Tell me a little bit about it. I have children, okay, and I want to be able to kind of be excited for them. So I'm picking out your book. Let's talk about that. Tell me a little bit more about your book.
Well, the first book, I've written 7 books so far. I think 6 or 7 books out of the 10 of the series. And the others I have titles for. They're already there and waiting to be put onto paper. But the first book is, without giving it all away, is basically Gotta Have That Green Banana. And it's a story of my grandmother, and myself while we were out shopping, and I discovered a green banana for the first time. And so I
So
had
this
to
is a
have
true,
it.
this is a true story.
Yeah, absolutely. True story. True story. And so, I had to change some things because we didn't want, back in the day, we got disciplined in a different manner in which children are disciplined today.
Oh
So,
yeah, go get that
yeah.
whip. Go outside and get that whip. Branch off the tree,
Yes.
and you go out and get the smallest branch. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things that has changed. Now, without giving away some more of the book, can you open it and just let us take a look at because I understand that your illustrations are very important as well. Let's take a look at a couple of pages of illustration and explain
Well,
to
for
me.
children's books, the illustration, that's Faye Michelle. That's Grandma Cleo. And if you can see, I don't know if I'm moving in the right direction.
Oh yeah, you're
Uh,
fine.
that's Faye Michelle.
Okay,
And she's the main character. And, uh, you know, and that's the cover story. So,
beautiful
but
illustrations. I like those illustrations, big and
yeah,
bold, and it
illustrations can be fun. That's Faye Michelle.
looks like she's in
And
trouble.
yeah, looks like she's in trouble. Grandma's not too happy.
Yeah, yeah,
So grandma's not too happy with
yeah.
her behavior at the moment.
Sounds like
So
a
yeah,
fun. So
it's
yeah,
fun.
I like. So most of your books are lessons, are what you have found and learned as you were growing up, pretty much.
Well, most of the stories are they do have a lesson or a moral to the story. However, they are just childhood memories, and sometimes I have found that there was a strong message behind all of the memories. Otherwise, I would not have perhaps remembered these particular stories. And it's, for instance, Gotta Have That Green Banana was the first time that I believe that I really disappointed my grandmother. And so I didn't forget that. I didn't forget that. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
so,
yeah.
so
Hmm.
when you wrote your books, it was something like you said that inspired you, helped you grow into the person you are because those are lessons you learned. And
Absolutely.
I,
Absolutely.
so
And it helped to um, nurture our relationship, the relationship that I had with my grandmother, and writing helped to recall and bring out, I guess, some of the true meanings, things that I hadn't really thought about. So just writing itself made me reflect and think about some things and maybe a different light that I hadn't thought about before.
well, I love to hear what you're saying because we need to learn from our elders, and evidently,
Yeah,
what you learned it carried over into your adulthood, where you are sharing with your grandson, and
absolutely.
I love it. I love it. So tell me, for me, what would it take me to write a book, a children book, or a novel? You know, like Michelle Obama and Barack, some other well-known people. They're writing books. Tell me a little bit about what would it take to write a book.
Well, the first thing you probably would have to do is discover your purpose. What is your purpose? Why do you want to write a book? There's a
Okay.
book in everyone. There's the hundreds of books in us, but you might want to figure out what your why is, because it does take some due diligence of really disciplining yourself to sit down and write a story or tell your story. And now, I find that children's books for me is quite interesting. I love it. I love writing the stories. I'm a storyteller, so it doesn't affect me. I don't necessarily get writer's block because not so far, because I just really, really enjoy telling stories. However, um, it was difficult to get started on writing a book before, even though I never considered children's book, but or storytelling. I always considered just writing this autobiography or some kind of long, drawn out novel of some sort, and could just never make that happen. I didn't see an end to it. And another thing in writing books, you perhaps it's better to see the end, and it helps you to know where you're going. See the end before you start writing. And
Mm.
I've heard that that's pretty much what a lot of authors do. They kind of know what the ending is going to be,
So
and that helps them
they
with it.
feel the whole book before they even finish it.
Yes,
So they know
absolutely.
the wrong direction
They,
where they're going.
yes,
And
yes.
that
They probably know the ending before they know the beginning.
mm,
Hmm. Yes,
reversing. Oh, that's nice. Okay,
yeah.
so you're successful because you wrote a number of books. Tell me, I've just finished a book. I'm thinking of some of the questions your some of our audience may want to ask you. Okay, so I just finished writing my book. What do I do next? Because there's so many things I'm thinking of. You got to have an editor. You have to have an illustrator. You have to have a formatter. You have to have these. Tell me about the steps.
Well, the first thing is you have to decide whether or not you want to self-publish your book or you want to find a publisher or, semi-publishers. There's lots of avenues that you can take in order to write a book. I mean, or to publish a book. So, of course, you even in writing, you can write a book and you can have someone help you ghostwrite the book, which means you have the idea for what you want, or perhaps. Let's say if you were writing a book on accounting and you knew a lot about accounting, but you just wanted to write down the particular details about what it takes to become an accountant or what some of the formulas are. However, you may get a ghostwriter and they may say, hey, you might want to start with the historical aspects of being an accountant. And so they will help you work through that process. So there's different ways of getting your story told. Ghostwriting, the editing part is something that is so critical if you're self-publishing or even doing it traditionally. The editing is a big part of writing because we make a lot of errors and we want to make sure that we kind of minimize the errors so you can get edited over and over again. So that's kind of a key
Okay,
aspect of
all right.
writing. But don't let that deter you. You need to get the story down.
Okay. Now, by listening to you, I can tell that there was some mistakes you made, and it cost you money.
Oh, really?
I mean, would you say that if I were to if I come to you and say, "Hey, can you help me?" You probably end up saving me a lot of money, right? A lot of time.
Oh, yeah. Well, absolutely. I think that well, okay, as an example, our second book, I think, is Fire. It's got Fire in My Shoe. It's
I
about
like the
house
title.
fire that took place when I was little, and my brothers and cousins were kind of responsible for the fire. So within that book, I was so excited to get it published, and you know, I was publishing at the same time with the Gotta Have That Green Banana, and I think it's behind me. Uh, yes, yes, and this is it. I don't know if you can see it right. There we go.
Yep, there we are.
Um, yes, and with this book, I was so excited. I wanted it to come out the same time as the Gotta Have That Green Banana because I wanted to pair them together and make them a set. And so rather than doing the I guess the proof copy, I just automatically published it. And so I had to end up going back and unpublishing it because I had not seen that the editors had left off a couple of things or made a couple of typos, and therefore I had to go back and redo that portion of the book.
Okay. Well, I seen your books, and I'm very impressed with not just the way you worded it. I feel the character. I
Thank you.
illustration draws me in, and it's a fun read when I'm reading in front of my grandkids. Okay, they're they're
Mhm.
they're focused. They're listening, so it has that connection for children as well. I think that's important. Um, okay,
Oh,
so
absolutely. The kids love it. They love it that it's unique. I try to make it a fun read. Try to add my co-author, my son MJ. He
stop for a second. Your co-author, how old is he? And
he's 4 years old.
tell me what how did he play into this? I mean, 4 year old. I'm thinking on top of my head. 4 year. What can they do? How can they? Tell me what connected you and how he stayed connected with when you're writing the book.
Well, when I'm writing the story, I usually bounce the story off of him. Well, the first story was written for him so that he identified with me being 4 years old. And then the second book happened that way as well. So he was anxious and wanted to contribute to the book. And I allowed him to contribute as an author, co-author, because what he does is he talks about the story, or he gives me tips on illustrations, what should be. What sometimes he does the editing, correcting. I say brains, and he'll say brain, and so he's really fun. He also adds his contribution to the beginning of the story and at the end of the story. So at the end, when I ask him how did he enjoy the story, he lets me know how he enjoyed the story, and that's part of the story. So it's like a story within a story. It's me sharing my story with him, and he is making comments to at the beginning, and then he makes comments at the end of how he enjoyed the story. And he's given titles to our last book, which is called Graham Crackers and Milk Saves the Day. Um, he decided that that was a better title than uh, Faye Michelle's First Day at School, or something like that. So yeah, he liked that
Well,
better.
he definitely deserved to be a co-writer because he's
Oh,
getting very
absolutely, absolutely.
tips
He's
that
inspired.
he
Yeah,
like.
he's
Okay,
so excited. He stays so excited and keeps me motivated.
excellent.
Yes.
Okay, so what would you say that the average cost for a person who want to write their first children book? What's the average cost you think they should expect to pay?
Well, you can. There's many different ways to write a book. So if you're doing it traditionally, you probably wouldn't have to pay anything to a publisher. They would be paying you. However, you don't get those long-term royalties and things like that. You would turn over your rights to the book, and they would just pay you for maybe, two or three books, or however. That's definitely, they have total autonomy over how that happens. However, if you want to self-publish your books, that can range from, I would say, maybe $500 to maybe $3,000 to $5,000. It all depends. It really just depends on what it is you are trying to accomplish in your book. And I can, to narrow that, or to kind of clarify that, uh, just as we were talking about illustrations, book covers, and all of this, someone is doing this for you. You can, or if you're not an illustrator yourself or an artist yourself, you have to hire someone to do those illustrations for you. Although you may know what you want the illustration to demonstrate. Um, so let's say here, Faye Michelle, she's covering her nose. She sees the shoe out there. That's what I wanted to have happen, but I didn't draw it myself. So I, give instructions on what I want. Here's the inside of the fire book, where my brother and twin cousins are in a closet playing around, So the illustrator has to know that you're wanting your siblings, or whoever the characters. So they will do that for you. And then that can cost it I mean, it is just a wide range. You may find somebody to do something like, let's say, 15 pages, and they may charge $500 to do 15 pages, or they may charge 2,500 to do 15 pages, or they may charge $200 a page. So you really, really have to just do your homework, and find out, in your budget, what you want to do and
So,
how much you want to pay.
so that's where you come in because you already test the waters and you know who's good and who's bad. You actually do.
Yes,
You can pay more for less the quality. I hear.
yes,
So
yes. You can
it's
pay more.
kind of like you just really do need to be guided in that direction. What I'm hearing, okay. So
Yes.
okay, let's talk about marketing. Everybody, say we finished the product, we got the book, we got the product. but you need eyeballs and people with with, with money in their credit on their credit card to buy your product. So we need to inspire people and go to where the people are so they can go ahead and buy. When you agree,
Well,
that's how
probably the
you.
first thing that you want to do, Amazon is a good platform for that. I mean, to have your books for self publishers, to have a platform where people can actually go and it has a credibility. They know where to get the book, unless you're going to, I mean, Barnes and Nobles or, a different, another brick and mortar facility to get the book. However, the platform on Amazon makes it so much easier for your audience to be able to get to your books. That's one thing. The other thing is if you have your own website and you can have people go there and purchase your books. Um, you know, I have both. So I enjoy the opportunities of being able to see who comes to my site and who's purchasing a book. Otherwise, if they go to Amazon, that's all Amazon, and I won't know. I will see the actual book sales, but I won't see who's actually purchasing the book. Now, if you want to promote your book, there's many different ways of doing that. The first thing is perhaps you want to build your audience. You want to make sure that you start promoting your book a year in advance. Perhaps if you know that this is something that you want to do, you can start promoting your book. You can do um, your Facebook or your social media channels where you start letting people know that you are going to be writing a book, and you kind of build that momentum and get it going so that
It's
people
called,
are
it's called a launch,
anticipating.
right? A launch.
If you launch, yes, it's before the launch. This is like pre-launch stages.
Okay.
You want to get people out there, waiting and anticipating the book. And when you actually launch the book, since we are all quarantined in at this point, you probably will be best doing Zooms, and you'll do a Zoom date and have as many people as you can to show up on your Zoom, and you'll feature your book. You'll pretty much like we're doing now, and just be more people, and launch the book, and you'd hope that people would go and purchase the book. And after that, you just promote everywhere that you can. You can have book signings. You can go to schools. There's just so many different places you can go to libraries, or get on their circuits. There's so many different avenues of being able to get your books out there and get promoted, so people can get those eyeballs on you.
Well, you know what? I got to say, first of all, Faye Michelle, I love the fact that you're a successful person. You've been at this for a while. And I always say that the best writers are the ones that love what they do, or anyone in any type of home based business. They love what they do because they have that passion. And being that we're all quarantined, you definitely put
Right.
the time to use, as I can say.
Yes.
Final words here. What would you say to someone who's looking at becoming an author? What is your final word for them? Final advice for them?
Well, my final advice would be that they get started writing. Really, sometimes you have a story that you want to tell and you just don't know where to begin. You want to start off with, like, once upon a time or one day. Basically, what you really want to do is get that notepad and start writing. And once you start the writing, you will see that your flow will begin to go, and you'll start going into your stories. And then you can go back and correct anything that you want, but you just need to start writing. And then um, you put yourself on a schedule. You can put yourself on the schedule so that you are prepared daily, weekly, whatever you carve out that time for yourself, because you have to do that in order to write and be determined. With their determination, then you can get through the process. Some authors like to write 1,000. Give yourself a number, 1,000 words a day. Might take them 2 hours, might take them 3 hours. Typically, if I'm writing 1,000 words a day, it probably takes me about 3 hours.
Mm.
And that's because I have, which is pretty good. Um, I have stopped writing with pen and paper. I can just go in now and use my laptop. I always started writing as just, journaling, and that has always kept me back. So I get on the computer and I just start right there. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Mhm.
Well, Faye Michelle, we really appreciate it. We're going to invite you back because I know there's going to be questions that's going to
Yeah.
be asked from our audience, and we want to make sure that you get it. And maybe you can ask them next time we're online here. Okay. Once again,
Yes, I want to add one other thing. When you're writing, if you just don't feel compelled to put pen to paper, there are programs and I would say apps that you can use where you can speak into the system and start writing by just doing your um, voice and talking.
okay. That sounds like some important advice there. Going to save a lot of time. Once again, we
Mhm.
thank you. We're going to invite you back, and just stay there for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, as you see on my program here, I'm going to be bringing you some successful people in home-based business, giving some good content that hopefully that can help you launch whatever business you are interested in getting into. Uh, Pay close attention to the emails that we're sending out. If you would like more information, there's a way to get hold of me. Just go ahead and do that. And at the same time, we're going to let you know when the next broadcast. Uh, we're going to be live at time on Facebook. We'll be live on YouTube, Instagram, different social medias. One of the things about myself, I love to basically connect with people. So definitely bring in your questions because I'm definitely interested in answering those questions best of my ability. I have over 25 years of marketing online and offline. Been very successful in a lot of businesses that I basically got involved with. So I have a lot of stuff I can teach you guys, and there's other places I would tell you where to go get that information. But right now, uh, go ahead and once again thank you for coming and actually being there for us and supporting us. Let your friends know there's a place now that they can go and get real answers. Uh, as you notice on my calls, um, I am trying to bring the best people in that type of a niche. Okay. There's one niche that's coming up that I'm going to spend a lot of time giving you a lot of information. A lot of people need to make money, right? And they need to make money as fast as they possibly can, especially with what's happening. We have people who never had the opportunity to actually go online and make money. So we're going to try to guide you in the right directions. Okay. So the next time we'll be talking about forex trading, and we have some of the scholars on there teaching you how to take 10 cents and turn it in $30 all day long. So we'll go over that. Okay. So but right now, let's say goodbye to Jackie. Let me just bring her back on. Okay. Give us a second. Bring her back on. Okay, Jackie, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, we're going to say goodbye to you, and I'm sure you want to say goodbye to our guests.
Thanks for having me. You guys have stay safe, be well, and I really appreciate the support. Um, Enjoy the books. There are several. Faye Michelle, the Comfort Legacy series with Faye Michelle and Grandma Cleo, written by Faye Michelle and MJ. Love to have you in our fold of readers, and thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming, and we look forward to the next time we're going to invite you back for sure. Okay. So
Okay.
everybody who's there, we want to say thank you for being our guest on this call, and we look forward to sharing more knowledge with you. This is Carl Douglas from Home Based Business Review saying until we see you soon. Bye for now.